What's up, YouTube? What's up, world? What's up, Facebook? What's up, social media? The whole bit. Making one more video today. I decided while my mom was out doing her thing, when my dad's I'm not visiting. I'm living right now at my parents' house. Thank God I had a place to live, but I wanted to at least try have a little bit of privacy for my videos because I get really self-conscious and I want to focus correctly, and I feel kind of stupid talking out loud around other people. But anyways, this video is actually about sober livings, and the reason I'm making this video is because I want there to be more good sober livings in the world, because sober living is really an awesome thing, and when it's done correctly, it's a money maker. So if clicked on this video and you're interested in making money and you're an honest person with integrity, and please listen to this video, okay? Sober living environments, sober houses, I don't call them halfway houses, because halfway houses refer more to like incarceration and stuff like that, in my opinion. But, you know, whatever you want to call them, it's a chance to invest in property. It's a chance to, I believe there's state funding and I'm sure there's got to be some type of funding and you know, things like that for this. But or you could, if your credit's not messed up like mine, you could get a business loan and not only invest in property, but let's put it this way. If you buy a house with 5 rooms in it, not including the kitchen, 5 rooms, 2 bathrooms, 3 bathrooms, whatever you want to do. 1 bathroom is a little much. You need to have probably at least 2 bathrooms, and possibly sometimes they build more onto it, or they put personal sinks in the room. That's another really good trick, is put a sink with a mirror in the room, so the toilet and the shower is a specific area, but brushing your teeth and washing your face and drinking water, getting running water, is in your room, which is really helpful. So let's say, I don't know much about property, but let's say you have enough money to invest in a house or rent a house from somebody, or get a loan for a house, whatever it is, and your payment for that house is $1,300 a month, let's say. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. Okay, so now you have 5 rooms, you have yourself, you have no staff members, let's say, and you have a house now that you have to pay $1,300 a month. And I don't know, and you've decided you're going to make this your career. Okay, so first off, I would put 2 people per room. 3 people is a little too much, because when I go to a sober living and they have 3 people per room, it tells me they're just wanting to make money, because it's uncomfortable to have 3 people in the room and it's just too much. But if you have 2 people in each room, that's 10. That right there is 10 people living in that house in sober living. And most of them have like 20. So most of them do way more than 2 people per room. But this is my business model to have a successful sober living. And so that being said, that's 10 people, right? Now how much do you want to charge per month for your sober living? Well, are you going to include food? Most of them don't. But if you included food, if you had a cook in the kitchen to make, let's just say, dinner every night, you could easily tack on another $200 on the monthly fee. So let's say you want to charge $800 per month to live in a sober living house, whether it's drug testing, rules, enforcement, chores, expectations, etc. And okay, so, and your rent is $1,300 per month. So that is, let's see, 8 times 10 is 8,000. 800 times 10 is 8,000. So that right there, you have a house with 5 rooms in it, 10 people, including yourself, however you choose to live, wherever, if you live in the living room, or worst case scenario, let's say 9 people. So 9 times 800, 9 times 8 is 82. No, 92. Okay, 9 times 8, 9 times 7. Give me a moment here. I'm sorry. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 7 is, oh my gosh, 7 is 63, plus another 9 times 8 is 72. 9 times 9, yeah, 72. So that's $7,200. So $7,200 minus 13 is 69 minus 1,000 is $5,900 right there. So you're gonna make $5,900, not including toilet paper and bills. So let's go from 59, let's bring that down to 54. So you make $5,400 a month, which is not bad for sitting and living in a house. And you could, and 800 is cheap. Not only that, 2 people per room is not that many. And the trick of it to continue to grow, to have more, they have multiple houses and multiple locations, and also higher rents, lower rents. There's all kinds of different things that's a pretty cheap rate. 800 is really pretty cheap. And it, like, you're living in a house with a bunch of people who walk around, watch TV, go to work. All you need to do is drug test, keep an eye on the house, make sure the house, and okay, the house, that's chores. If you're gonna have a sober living where people are forced to work, then they're gonna have to find jobs and go work. If you allow them to live in the house during their stay there, and as long as they're programming and not doing drugs and getting high or drinking or whatever, then I strongly encourage that you would enforce chores, and also a curfew, stuff like be up by a certain time, make your bed, make sure your room is clean every day by a certain time, make sure there's certain hours for TV, certain hours for the living room, stuff like that, rotating chores, all that. But the main thing is do not allow people to get high. Do not allow people to drink. Do not give people the chance to manage their addiction. Do not give people, it's one thing if you have a relapse policy where, oh, if they relapse, they can come back in 5 days, they lose the rent for this month and they can come back next month. I've seen it like that. That's the way it works. At a sober living, if you pay rent and you fail, you usually lose your rent, unless I've been to some where they allow you to come back in a couple days and test clean, or try to test clean. And so that's me working 40 hours a week, pretty much my entire morning, 5 days a week, all first half of the day dedicated to 40 hours a week at McDonald's as a maintenance worker. I was making about $2,400 a month. So that's half of me sitting in a house watching people, and which I could even pay someone else to do. I could pay someone $1,000 a month. I could even, here's the trick of it. You find someone who's very into the program and you pay them to manage the house when you're not there. So there's a house manager who's actually a tenant and they have reduced rent. So instead of losing $1,000, you just lose $400 out of it, and they pay $400 instead of $800, and they get to live there for $400 a month, and they're the ones who live in the house. All they have to do is make sure no one's suspicious and make sure that the house is clean, chores are done, chore sheets, etc. So you're at $5,000 a month right now because you have one person who actually wants to be clean, who's got a couple of years of sobriety, they want a sober living, they want to be in a management position, it looks good on their resume, it looks good for their work life. And I've done that before, but it was only $100 reduced rent, so it was not nearly as gracious as that. And I had a full-time job. I was working like 70 hours a week. I was working like 50 or 60 hours a week, actually. And I was a house manager. I did chore checks, I did bed checks, I did all that. I drug tested people, and those people make a lot of money. The owners of it make a lot of money. But the trick of it is you have to stick to your guns. You have to remember it's a sober living, because I've been to so many where they flop out and they only focus on money. And then I'm not saying they don't make money, but it makes it look terrible for them because they don't even care about their sober living anymore. And example being, there's a couple of houses in Las Vegas that I stayed at sober living that were just complete. All they were focused on was making money. And I'm sure they made money, but at the end, quick money I do not believe God will bless that money. I do not believe that money gained by dishonest motives and dishonest means will be blessed by God. I do not. And the bigger example of that is there's one in Orangevale, California. It's called CSTL. And bless her soul, rest in peace, there was a lady there who was the general manager who passed away. And that was one of the first ever sober livings I ever stayed at. Second one, actually. And while I stayed there, it was very serious. If you didn't, it was almost like a military boot camp, except without combat and without the physicality of it. But with the strictness and the same expectations of your responsibilities and the way that the rules are enforced. And I miss it, and I loved it for what it was, because it taught me discipline. It taught me that no is no. It taught me that I'm here right now and I'm not going to drink and use. It taught me that there's no slack, there's no playroom, there's no nothing. You do it and you do it, and that's it. And years later, after going to all these flops and all these scams in Las Vegas, I moved back to Sacramento, and I needed to go to a sober living house, and I did. And I went back to CSTL after this general manager had passed away and was no longer with the company. Passed away like she died. And it's terrible and sad, but she didn't like quit or leave or anything like that. And the owner was still the same, but he was very hands-off to begin with. And he's also getting old and had a stroke, and he's kind of like not as present as he was. But when I went back there, it had completely changed, and I was so disappointed, because it was focused on was money. And the people, even some of the same people who were there before, had become so evil. I mean, I despise this place. The place to me that was like a childhood friend raising me up became something I hate and despise. And I truly believe with all my heart that God will not bless their money. Whether that means it's their salvation, I'm not a judge of anybody else. I'm just saying, whatever that means, if it's their mentality, their sanity, their happiness, their sex life, their marriages, I don't know. But I do not believe that God will bless them for their dishonest and their corrupt business principles, because they don't enforce beds anymore. They don't enforce drug policies anymore. It's called CSTL. It's Clean and Sober Living. It's in Orangevale. It's the one that says one day at a time on the Orangevale, California, on the front of the house. And I'm making this video partially because of how bad they let me down and how bad they disappointed me and screwed me over, because I expected to go there and be in this like military-esque program. And the second time I went there, which was like 5 or 6 years later, it was a complete drop. There was people getting high, there was people sneaking out, there was people having sex and fraternizing that was clearly not allowed. There was people using racist slurs towards me to the point where I was ready to fight them. And I even went into the general manager before I outbursted, and I said, look, these people are cussing at me and calling me names, racist slurs, and I know that if I fight or if I react to them, I'll get in trouble and I'll be punished. Oh, well, I haven't heard anything, and I don't know who it is, and I can't prove it. So the management ignored the fact that I complain about the behavior of the other guests, because I already tried to handle it myself, and nothing, and there was no result. So what ended up happening is I tried to handle it myself more, and I ended up challenging these people and telling them, hey, what's up? You have a problem, you can come see me about it. Stop talking to me that way. And what ended up happening was, because I defended myself at this corrupt business, my pillow was vandalized, my pillow was urinated on, my clothes were stolen, I had my property stolen and then returned and hidden. The bathrooms were filthy. People were urinating all over the bathrooms and the showers on the floor. There was, the food was being tampered with, whether that means people farting on the food while it's being cooked intentionally. It's one thing if, farting is not the same as going up to something that's being cooked and intentionally defecating. Defecation is not the same thing as your body's natural process. It's an evil intention, it's disgusting, and it's evil. And this is meals for the entire community. And the same thing. Just like such inappropriate behavior and such hypocritical behavior. And after 1 month of living there, what would be an eviction, but it was just an 86 because I wasn't technically even on a lease, so they can't evict me. But they could have, if I wanted to fight with them, I could have told them they had to evict me because I had lived there for 30 days. So they would have had, but instead they said, we'll give you half a month for free, but you have to leave because you have erratic and disruptive behavior. Because all these people who were calling me racist names and insulting names to me for no reason other than to get off in their own minds, basically to impress people or show off to people and put someone else down. And I basically told them, hey, look, if you have a problem, let's go outside and handle it. Then the management, after I had already complained to the management, came to me and kicked me out because I reacted violently towards these people. And not like it was, these people wiping feces on the ground, wiping feces on people's bedding, urinating. It was disgusting. And not only that, when I moved into a second house, because they, at first, before they kicked me out, they said, okay, we'll put you in one of the secondary houses, because they owned like 6 houses. Now, and I don't have 100% proof, but this is what happened. I was getting ready for the shower, and I laid out all my hair gels, all my pomades. I had 3 or 4 pomades, and I put them on my bed. And the reason I had 3 or 4 is because I stocked up when I had the money. And if you've ever been in a tough situation, and you see a good deal for something and you have the money, you might just swoop it up so you have extra next time you need it. So I go take a shower and I come back and my pomades are missing off my bed, 1 or 2 of them. So I start romping around, and I've already had food stolen. I've already had food left out. I've had food ruined on purpose that I paid and put in the refrigerator, which is supposed to give whoever does that an automatic termination. No, oh, we don't have proof. We don't know who did it. Finally, someone admitted who did it. Oh, well, it was an accident. They didn't mean to do it. They just moved it and left it out by accident. And come to find out, the manager of the house I was living in, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but this is the only thing that made sense. The manager of the house I was living in gave people permission to throw away my food and leave my food out to rot. And also, after I started questioning everybody about my hair product, he came to dinner the next day with his hair fully slicked back with hair pomade, and he had never done that before when I was there. And everybody was looking at him. Everybody was whispering about it. Everyone was awkward, and I looked like a fool because I was just questioning everybody, trying to figure out who took my pomade. And in comes the house manager, the guy who's supposed to be a role model, the same guy who told people they could throw out my food and waste my food, and he's got all... No, who else could say different? 90%, 99% sure all my pomade slicked in his hair, sitting there like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? And his whole motto was, I didn't really need it. He was trying to teach me not to have things that I didn't really need. And he didn't know anything about me, man. I was so mad. But if I would have beat him up or challenged him, I would have got kicked out, and I did anyways. So anyways, I'm not cursing that place. I'm just saying they have none of my blessing. I wipe my feet. I clear my dust of CSTL, and every sober living house in Vegas that I went to, and everyone in Henderson, Vegas, I shake the dust off my feet, off their church, off their houses, off their establishment, off their people. If there's any good people there, I hope God protects them and blesses them. And I'll be honest with you, I hope their businesses fail miserably, but that's in God's hands, because that turns into cursing. I'm not going to allow the negativity in my mind to sit there and focus on them and say, I hope they fail, I hope they fail. But I'm just saying, if you claim to be Christian or you claim to follow God, and if you don't, go ahead, live your own life. But you're not going to prosper. The reason I made this video is because I want to see more good sober livings. Because 100% I believe a good, honest, sober living that follows its own policies and enforces them is a very good way to make a lot of money. Like I said, $5,000 easy dollars a month with a 5-bedroom house with 9 people. 9 people in that house. That's nothing. Most of them have 20 people. Most of them have 60, 50, 60 people in the whole establishment. Now imagine that. $1,000 a month. That's 500. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. And it's not hard. All you have to do is either hire someone to watch the house and drug test people. It's easy to catch people using drugs. They immediately start acting weird. And that's why you get someone like me, or someone that's been in the program, or someone that has been in jail or prison, that can detect that type of behavior if you can't yourself. But my point is, you're not going to be out in the field breaking your back. You're not going to be at McDonald's working maintenance full time, making $2,400 a month. I'm not hating on McDonald's. I love McDonald's. I love my coworkers, but I'm saying you're not going to be sitting there breaking your back for 10 hours a day so you can go home and relax. You're going to be, oh, I have the day off. I'm going to go check my houses and drive by, and then I'm going to go relax and go, fraternize or do whatever. You're a business owner. It doesn't mean you're stuck in addiction or CSTL. But anyways, that's my video. I hope you enjoy it. God bless you. Please comment, like, subscribe to all my stuff. Thank you. Goodbye.